Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
This is a time when you not only are going to love the show, you can really make money if you listen very carefully and get back into the swing of things. So thank you for being here, Adam Clatsoff.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And I also want to thank Brian Leonard, who's the Vice President of Employee Markets. You're just a nice guy. You're here to make sure that we all stay on track, right?
Thank you, Anita. Yes.
Okay.
Glad to be
They
here.
want to make sure I don't say something I'm not supposed to say.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to, you're not going to do that. You've been a radio hound for a long time. Let's talk about that before we even get started. You started in radio here at WNN. How many years ago?
Actually, it was at WNN 980 AM. At the beginning. What was it, 20 years? I don't know.
I've been doing this for 26 years, so you must be
before you.
And you were Dr. what?
Captain Truth.
Captain Truth. I keep thinking you're a doctor. You are a doctor.
I was,
many things.
I was, what's that idiot's name? Donald Trump before Donald Trump.
So, Captain Truth. But now, but while you were doing that, you were really doing something very important. You have been, I've heard about you for so many years. You've been Mr. Insurance, haven't you?
We've had a lot of fun down here in the insurance business, but actually I got started in Florida raking beaches. As I told you earlier, when I first came to town, I was illegal. I had no working papers, so I bought a rake for $5 and walked up and down the beach and raked the beaches for people.
He was from Canada, so nobody get nervous here, right?
Canadians are your worst immigrants because you can't find them so easy. They're hard to find.
I love Canadians, actually. But okay, so anyway, you arrive here, and then you just decided you're an entrepreneur at heart, weren't you?
I'm 75. I've never had a job.
And I have to tell you, and I keep embarrassing him, he has the most gorgeous head of hair. This white hair is so beautiful, and so people recognize who you are. I'm sure if you go to restaurants, just like with your book from about McDonald's, 101 Reasons Why You Should Eat Fast Food is a great book, everybody. But when you went in there, I'll bet that everyone recognizes you, don't they?
I'm recognized.
You are recognized. But we're here to do something very important this morning, Adam. We're really here to help all our listeners and their friends to get back into the swing of things. Some people who are 60, 70, even 80, they're looking for people to appreciate them and to also make money. So what would you like to tell them?
I think this is the most important thing I did with my whole life, and I stumbled across it quite by accident. About 3 years ago, I went for lunch at Tavolino's on Sample Road in Coral Springs to meet with a client to talk about some business. And when I walked through the front door, the whole restaurant exploded, and 250 people yelled and screamed, "Surprise, surprise, surprise." And much to my surprise, I was retiring. I did not know that. My kids and wife plotted against me and threw me out of the business for whatever reason. They all decided Adam should retire.
And why do you think that was true, though? You're not a retiring guy.
Well, my daughter had worked in the business since she was 14 years old. My son worked in the business since he was 14 years old. It was their turn. They earned it fair and square. That's what it came down to. But I just didn't think about retiring. Women, my wife, I'm married 47 years. And the secret, you guys out there to saying married 47 years is, yes, dear, you're absolutely right.
I don't believe that, and you don't do that.
But what happened was, in very short order, the next thing I knew came probably the unhappiest 2 years of my life. I'm no good at watching daytime TV and doing nothing and going to funerals and hanging around doctors' offices. I became quite ill. I had idiopathic arrhythmia. They were giving me tilt tests. I never saw so many doctors in my whole life. It just was not working. And then along came PACA, Patient Protection Affordable Care Act, and ostensibly the end of the insurance business. What I saw was an incredible opportunity. Good Lord, everybody has to have insurance. They have to change it every year. I get paid a commission to talk to them. It's incredible, the opportunity. So what's happened in my business is the old-timers, the spreadsheeters have been obsolesced, and it's a new kind of advisor coming into the business now, low-pressure, articulate, caring, compassionate people. And everybody, there's only three ways you can do this. You can talk to one of the government navigators. You can pay someone a fee to do this for you. or you can work with a licensed health insurance agent. I would suggest that the licensed health insurance agent is the best of the three routes. Of course, I have a bias to that. But we really need right now, unprecedented need for qualified, well-trained, educated, caring, concerned people. And people want their advice to be from boomers. I mean, it's very hard to take advice about your financial affairs, and particularly health insurance, from a 15-year-old. You know? Right?
Well, let me just, though, ask you that. And by the way, this is Adam Clatsoff, founder of Adcahb. That's ADCAHB Medical Coverages.
And that's Adam, Carol, Heather, and Bill.
And you are such a family man. I love this. I really meet someone like you. I'm so happy to have you here in the studio and for you to be a part of Boomer Times. As a matter of fact, for people, if you still have your July issue, you'll see Adam with an advertisement. And then coming up in August, you'll see a very nice article that he wrote. So be looking for it. But let me just ask you a few questions about this. So let's say someone's listening and they're saying, yeah, that sounds really good to me. Is this going to be hard for them to get into?
No.
Tell us how it works.
If you're a low-pressure, articulate, caring person, and you can pay attention and you don't have complete ADHD or whatever it is, attention to, no, it's not. I did it, and I'm nothing special for sure, and I have a hope. Brian's absolutely nothing special. He's here.
I resent that. He is special. Leave him alone.
But seriously, you don't have to be a genius. All you have to do is, we're hiring right now and we're training because the need is unprecedented. The fact of the matter is everybody's going to have, and I'm talking about seniors too, by the way. People do not know what's happened to Medicare because of PACA. They're going to see changes in their Medicare program this year like they've never seen before. Everybody's going to want to talk to somebody that knows what they're talking about. Because if you try to do this yourself, if you're out there and you try to do this yourself and go to the government website by yourself, it's a catastrophe, absolute catastrophe.
Okay, so let's say someone is really interested. I'm going to give a phone number, but what is it going to really take for them?
You know what? I don't care if they're interested or not. You know what they should do? They should come and look, because 90% of the great things that happened to me in my life, I wasn't all that interested. But they kind of just happened to you because they're the right thing to happen to you. I would strongly suggest, if you're tired of watching daytime TV and going to funerals and golfing nonsensically and you're just fed up with being irrelevant, come on over. We'll talk.
Okay, that's a good. Let me give everyone a phone number. Remember, this is Pencil Talk Radio, so get your pencils, please. The phone number is 954-345-1208. That's 954-345-1208. It will reserve a seat. And what are they going to see when they get there? What do they have to do?
Well, we can do this one of three ways. Usually we just get a little group of guys around, talk a little bit. And that's basically what that's all about. That number is Marietta, and she'll just, reserve a seat for you, and let's talk.
And okay, so let's say they want to do this. Now, do they have to go and
learn that's the best part. You see, there's a barrier. If you want to get into anything, like, look at what Uber has done to the taxi cabs, because there's no barrier to it. Well, the insurance is a highly regulated business, and there's a background check, number one. Okay, and if you have something in your background, this is not a good one for you. And you have to know about insurance. This is one of the reasons why you should use a licensed health insurance agent to make these decisions. The thing that's always amazing to me is when people buy health insurance, they think the exercise is to buy the cheapest health insurance they can buy. Would you buy the cheapest parachute you could buy? I mean, is that how you buy parachutes? I mean, when you're about to jump out the plane and you notice El Cheapo parachute? I mean, I don't think so. You want the best. And the best is usually the less expensive in the long run.
As long as you're educated about it, that's the key.
But here's something most people don't really want to hear. One of the most important decisions, if not the most important decision you ever make in your life, will be about your health insurance. Do it with a competent, qualified person.
I agree. And so I'm happy that you're here and that you have a great company to do this. You've been around for a long time. How many years, actually?
Well, I'm 75 years old. How long have I been in the insurance business? 1969.
Okay, and you have you're actually located out there in Coral Springs,
yep.
And that's where someone would go. And I've seen your beautiful lecture rooms, and you you do a lot of education, don't you? So
Yeah, we're
people,
kind of proud of that. I mean, when we moved to Coral Springs in 1975, I had a wife, 2 kids, $3, and a grade 11 education, and we grew up the town. I believe it's the best town and the best county in the best country in the world.
Well, you've contributed a lot to society there. I know you've given so much to a lot of people and things, but what I'm really happy
That's
about...
good and bad, by the way.
Well, let me just tell you, Adam, that I have always, because I'm a gerontologist, I've always loved the seniors. That's why I went into this field. And knowing that you have now a program which will not only give them extra money that they, of course, could use, but also to feel good about themselves and to, as you keep saying, to feel relevant. And it's really important. A lot of people do get sick, just as you said, when they're forced to retire. Because if you go to apply for a job and you say you're 65, no one's going to hire you.
Well, the reason the older fellas, especially, and the older ladies like it is because we don't play games. There's no production boards. You do business when you want, where you want, how you want, as much as you want or as little as you want. You're totally in charge of your life. I had a person come to me who was a police officer from New York, and he got a job at a gate for $8 an hour being a security guard, and his wife won a 4-day cruise, and they fired him because he went on the 4-day cruise. So he said, I'm not doing that anymore. He got his insurance license, joined us. Even a cop from New York figured it all out, okay? And he's a nice person is the point. Nice guys do terrific in my business.
Yeah, so what would happen if
but
someone...
my point is now he's making much more money than he was as a security guard, but he's back in charge of his life, which he ought to be at his age.
How does one get the leads if they are working with you?
Hand your business card out.
Hand your business card out.
And everybody you know, everybody you ever knew, and everybody you ever will know. Our partner on this is Florida Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida, and I'm telling you it's 100% market share. Anybody who's buying health insurance is going to check in with Blue Cross Blue Shield. They may not buy Blue Cross Blue Shield, shame on them, but they will check in with Blue Cross Blue Shield. We have 100% market share.
Brian, when I first met you, I did tell you that my mother passed away when she was 94, and she had Blue Cross the whole time of her life, and she was always very happy with it.
And that's the point. If you're talking about toenail clippings and stuff like this, it doesn't matter. But when you get really, really, really sick and a catastrophic really happens in your family, you're going to want the best. And I'm sorry. I mean, I have my opinions. That's why they call me Captain Truth. I have seen, since I've been with Blue Cross since 1978, they are the best. I mean, say what you want. Now, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Now, when it comes to large employer group coverages, there's some wonderful carriers out there, and I'll name them. I love United. I love Aetna. I love them all. But when it comes to individual coverage, I think Blue Cross is the best.
Well, something I want to tell everybody, too. You're going to get to see Adam and some of his associates at the Boomer Expo coming up this coming Tuesday from 10 to 4 right there at Seminole Hard Rock. They're going to have a wonderful booth. They're going to be giving away first aid kits and a lot of other things.
I think I made a mistake. Without thinking, I told everybody about it, and we're going to have a lot of people there.
That's good. Well, we usually run 2,000 people or more, but let's see what happens with your being there. So I want people to know they can meet you, and you're going to give out your books now. Let's talk about your book. It's really a wonderful book.
I'm proud of this book. I'm a chapter. This was written in conjunction with several other people, one of which was Brian Tracy. He's the lead author on the book. We've done very well with it. It's hit the bestseller list. And on chapter 13 is my chapter, where I talk about being older and what health insurance means in your life and how to take the health insurance problem and make it part of the solution.
It's called Healthy, Wealthy, and Ready.
Yeah.
I love that. That's really very well done. Well, but you've been eating, sleeping, living this for so long, and you've, of course, been on the radio. You're a young pro. But this means a lot to you. It's interesting. When someone sits down with you, you just can't help but talk about insurance and helping people, can you?
Well, it's as I said, I really honestly believe it because I've seen it time after time after time. I watch a marvelous program on TV all the time called Untold Stories of the ER. There is no group of people in the whole world that I respect more than emergency room people at work. But second to that, I'm here to tell you, when it comes to money, your health insurance agent is going to be one of the most important people you ever talk to. And I can't believe it. I saw a financial plan that was 26 pages long from one of the major brokers, 3 lines about health insurance. I'm telling you, if your retirement plan fails, it's going to be because somebody got real sick. Mark my words. People shop around for the highest interest rate. Oh, am I going to get 1.25% or 2.75%? And then they turn around and they buy the cheapest health insurance they can find. What's the rationale of that? What's the sense of that?
Well, they haven't been educated. That's what we're doing the show for.
Well, they get
Adam.
educated in a big hurry when they get sick. 50% of the bankruptcies that occur because of bad health occur with people who had health insurance.
That's an interesting fact, but it was the wrong
scary.
Health insurance.
Well,
and people don't know because
it's in the policy. If one policy is 20% cheaper than another policy, it's in the policy somewhere. This is a highly regulated business. It's in the policy.
But they need someone who's educated to help them.
I mean, try and find the salesman when it's claim time.
You're absolutely right. So that's why I want to be sure that you make this very clear that's what your program is, Adam. That you make the people who work for you understand everything so that they can go out and help people.
Because if you shop hard enough for anything, I don't care whether it's a car or insurance, if you shop hard enough, you'll wind up buying off the biggest liar.
It's funny that you should talk about that because everyone will complain about insurance policy, as you said, whether it's automobile or house insurance. And the best way to get the knowledge is through a very good insurance person who will stay in touch with you. Most of them don't. Now, do you train your people to do that?
Absolutely. The name of the game in my business is build inventory, and building inventory is about being a nice guy and taking care of people. What is it, 6 o'clock in the morning here? I don't even know what time it is.
It's 6:30.
I've already spoken to 2 people in hospitals on my way down.
It's amazing.
I mean, that's
so you're always accessible.
And what am I talking to them about? Am I talking to them about their insurance? No. They need to know there's someone there that if there's something goes wrong or anything happens. It's like me when I got on the elevator. I hate elevators. But in my pocket, I had my cell phone and I had your phone number just in case something happened with the elevator, right?
Well, thank goodness it didn't because we've been very anxious to have you on the show. I know that you are... you come from a family that has been very entrepreneurial. Tell me a little bit about your dad. I always like to get back into a family. And what was he like, or your mom?
Oh, my mom's my hero.
I love that.
Women, and I'm married to a wonderful girl. I mean, thank God for her. I mean, to put up with me for 47 years. My mother's my hero. I mean, it's just that uncomplicated. I mean, how she put up with my father all those years, I don't know. But that's what people of that generation did. I mean, there was no sense that they were supposed to be particularly happy. You had children, and you were supposed to take care of your children, and whatever that involved, you did it. And that's who my mother was. I mean, she had my father's mother and father living in the house.
Oh, I love it.
1 bathroom.
Wow.
With 4 kids, 3 boys.
Adam, that's beautiful.
I mean, what else can I say about my mother?
No.
I mean,
yeah, I know that. And even nowadays, there are a lot of people who are bringing their families into their homes because
and now
people are sick.
my father, of course, was a Greek immigrant. Never spoke English barely. Could not read or write English. Was always in business for himself. And the reason he told me he was in business for himself is because the bastards wouldn't give me a job. I mean, and when you look around you and you see immigrants in this country, you remember why they're in business for themselves. They can't go out and get a job like you can, Mr. Smart Guy. They have to be in business for themselves. They have to make their own way.
Yeah, it's very true. That's why they did that. But now we have a different group of people the same way. Once you pass the age of 65, if you've been in business with someone else, you're either going to have to get in your own business. And that's why I like your program. It's like having your own business, isn't it?
Well, it is being in business. What do you mean, like it? Right? Like, you do business where you want, when you want, how you want. We're busy. We're hiring. We're training. You do business in the way you want and manner. And I mean, it's absolutely being in charge of your own life.
Will you help them learn how to use the computer if they want to do this and they haven't really been very good at that?
What, at computers?
Yes. Don't you need that to do what you're doing?
There is nobody less computer savvy. My tech support comes from my 5-year-old grandson. When I have a problem with my phone, which is apparently a computer now, I call Adam and he comes in and fixes it up for me. The people our age particularly, okay, the boomers, for all of their nonsense, are still rejecting computers by and large. I mean, I don't trust Brian as far as I can throw him. He's all high-tech, white-tech. I don't know what he's doing half the time, and I don't care, because I'll pick up the phone with my finger, I will dial a number and call the client and say, "Hi, Mary, how are you?"
But the paperwork that the insurance companies require Brian, so that he can keep everything in line. But so my question is, so maybe you've answered it. Once someone has a relationship with someone, who's going to do the paperwork for them?
Do the paperwork? I
Yes.
don't do paperwork because I don't need to do paperwork because Blue Cross Blue Shield does everything.
They do. So it will be easy. I just
But
thinking
but if you're saying you've run into an obstacle, yeah, that's what they do. They call me, absolutely.
Yeah, because that's very important in this. That might be a little scary for some people who've never done this, and so you're
Now
going
we're
to make
talking
this
about
easy.
selling this or
Selling and also be able to manage it.
Well,
Brian, do you have something to
You must have a licensed health insurance agent, a quality person in your life. If you don't, your life is very difficult.
Okay,
you're
so-
going to spend your whole life on 1-800 hold forever talking to this. Even I've worked in phone rooms and I've seen phone rooms. You know, when you ask to speak to a supervisor, what they do? They hand the phone to the next guy and say, "Now you're the supervisor."
Oh my goodness, that's not good, Brian. So what's the answer to my question?
You know, when we say your business is our business, when people on board with us and partner from the very first day forward, we have the privilege of, in the educational process, helping them to take what they've learned from their license and make it practical and make it easy. So our programs involve everything from literally 4 webinars every single week to help people, whether they join us in a classroom environment or via the computer. But we're there to support our folks literally every single day, throughout the weekends, in their growth.
Excellent, excellent. And that's really, I can hear people saying, yeah, I want to do it, but I don't know how to do this or that. But as long as support is there. So, Adam, that's wonderful. You seem like all the issues have been taken care of. So all someone has to do now, you're saying, if they're going to give them the phone number again, it's 954-345-1208. That's 954-345-1208. And just go there, make the appointment, go there, relax, see what it's all about, right?
If you happen to be in your car and you can't write down the number, just remember 877-ASK-ADAM. That's our health insurance helpline. And just ask for Adam. I'll talk to you.
Oh, okay. That's good. 877-ASK-ADAM. All right. Okay, so people are going to come, and you're going to let them see what it's all about,
Yeah.
and then they make a decision.
Just come and spend and have a sandwich, and we'll put a brisket on for you.
Well, before we have about 4 minutes, I just wanted to ask you, is there someone that comes to mind who started with you this way and how they're doing, or a woman?
Yeah, there's all kinds of them.
Give us an example of somebody.
The reason I got involved in this was about 5 or 6 months ago. I just happened to be sitting there. Maybe it was 8 or 9 months ago now. And I looked around me and I realized, look at it. Look at who's in this room with me. They're all people well into their 60s. I mean, at one time we had a fella 96 years old showing up.
Oh, I love that.
And the answer to your question is was he making $100 million a year? No. But he was making what he wanted to make on his terms in a very nice way. So what if a person joins us and only wants to make $20,000 a year? Let's say he does that for 10 years. That's an extra $200,000 in the kitty. $20,000 or $25,000 a year, you'd need $1 million in the bank at 3% interest to net that. There's no pressure on anybody to make a lot of money. Okay? Of course, now, as I tell people all the time, people will say, well, Adam, what is rich? What do you mean by rich? Rich is having 25 cents more than you want to spend. Filthy rich is having 25 cents more than my wife wants to spend. Okay? But that's your pressure, not mine. I will never put pressure on anybody and tell them what they should be making or earning. That's ridiculous. I'm in business for myself. I had a very definite idea what I wanted out of my business. Yes, I made a few bucks. I could have made a whole lot more, but that wasn't why I was in business.
You bring up a very good point, and I want to go back to what you said at the very beginning, which I think is the most important thing, besides the money, though. It's for people to feel like they are important and that they're
Be relevant.
Yeah, that's right. That when someone says, well, what are you doing? They don't say, well, I'm retired. They say, well, I'm having fun and I'm helping people in the healthcare field.
If you're sitting in a doctor's office today because you're feeling tired, or you have idiopathic arrhythmia, or you have orthostatic hypotension. These are all things they were diagnosing me with, by the way. Let me tell you what the problem is. Get busy, will you? Do something.
You know, after this, on our 7 o'clock show, we have the The Wonderful World of Wellness with Dr. Andy Mencia, and that's a big thing he says. When people come in there and they don't feel well, he always wants to know what they're doing, and he wants them to go volunteer or go get a job. He understands
that's what happened
you
to me.
said.
I saw all these doctors. I was all over the place in Boca Raton, the most expensive guys, spending money like crazy. I went to the family doctor, Doug, and he looked at me and he said, Adam, do something. I mean, I said, he says, stress is killing you. I says, what's stress? I've had stress all my life. He says, no. What you're doing now is the most stressful thing you'll ever do in your life. Doing nothing is stress.
Okay, and with that, we're going to have to say thank you very much, everybody. If you want to talk to anyone, talk to them, it's 877-ASK-ADAM. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Adam.
Thank you.